Let's walk the talk.
702.
The Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile says that 14 of the 19 provincial government entities achieved clean audits. He announced the 2024-2025 Gauteng Provincial Government audit outcomes yesterday. However, the Gauteng Provincial Government departments incurred 4.2 billion rand in a new irregular expenditure and in the 2024-2025 financial year. He's also expressed concern over the health and education departments, which regressed in the audit findings. He joins us right now on the line, MEC of Finance in Gauteng, Mr. Lebogang Maile. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to 702. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me, Thabo.
Health seems to be a regular culprit when coming to the audits. I wanted us to kick off with that so that we can go to other issues, MEC. This has been repetitive. Is there any particular reason that you have found to be propelling health to be a naughty child in a classroom?
The Department of Health has not regressed. It has actually remained stagnant in our report in terms of their audit outcome. They got an unqualified. Education regressed from clean to unqualified. That's what we're saying. However, with health, we're saying they were not non-compliant across the different areas. Meaning, if you are audited for finance, for supply chain, for HR, for all those areas, in other departments, they are non-compliant in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and all that. That's the point we're making. And that's why we are concerned about it, and we are working with the department to solve it. But they have not regressed.
Sure.
They just remain stagnant. Yeah.
And let's take perhaps 2 steps back, if we were to regress ourselves a little bit, if you will. Just to, again, go a little bit elementary so that we have everyone else on board on this conversation. Generally, an audit would be looking at the financial health system, and it would examine if processes have been followed to the T, and there would be clean audits, there'd be qualified, unqualified audits to that respect, right? And you are pointing out here that there have been 14 of the 19 departments that have achieved clean audit. Maybe let's dispense of the definitions first for purposes of everyone being on board. A clean audit would mean that you have been following proper financial procedures in order for you to run the departments, pay your debts, pay the suppliers, and maintain a good balance sheet?
Well, clean audit will mean that the financial statements of if the audited department, they will call you an auditee, are free of what they call material misstatements. So, and there are no material findings on the report. So, if you like, you can say everything is perfect. Unqualified audit means that the annual financial statements contain no material misstatements, but there will still be findings. So, meaning you are fine, you are doing well, you are within the law and all that. However, there might be 1 or 2 things that you are not doing well. Then qualified audit means that you have not done well. Therefore, the Auditor General does not give you a thumbs up. And then adverse opinion, it means there's a problem with a whole range of issues that, for instance, it means there's misstatements that are not confined to specific amounts, or the misstatements represent a substantial portion of the financial statements. Then there's a disclaimer, meaning now the AG says, I can't even express an opinion, like this is horrible. So that's what the different experts. So the Department of Health and Education, they have unqualified, meaning that they are fine, but there are findings that they will have to follow up and rectify. Hence, the Auditor General makes recommendations when they give us the the audit report.
I wanted to get there, and some of those audit findings highlight a lack of consequence management, wherein accounting officers are failing to implement recommendations from investigations. And why is there such reluctance or failure to act against officials who flout these regulations year after year?
The Auditor General says consequence management remained at about 50%, meaning there is action, but it's not enough. So it's not like there is no action. So I think that's what is important. There is action. That's what the AG says, but we have to have it as 100%. So there are delays in certain accounting officers, which are HODs, and you would have seen 2 months back or 3 months, the Premier moved them around and also relieved certain officials of duties and reassigned them and all that. It's part of making sure that we are responsive and we act where necessary. So we are at the level, at least, of the executive, which is the Premier and the MECs have been doing our part in making sure that we implement the decisions of the Auditor General. We are meeting with the Auditor General regularly to give them feedback, to also get advice from them. And that's why we are highlighting this to say we are aware of it and we are doing something about it. But to say it's not happening, it's not true, because it's just 50%, which is not satisfactory. We want 100%.
And that's why I emphasize that. I mean, when you look at the Department of Human Settlements, amongst others, it received the unqualified audit opinion with findings mainly due to non-compliance with laws and regulations. So it could be that you are getting an unqualified report outcome. However, there are critical things of non-compliance, critical issues of non-compliance that really compromise the integrity of your financial mismanagement. But you could easily still fall under unqualified report, right? An unqualified audit could be classified as that. So those are, I think, we need to reflect on that, MEC, because the loopholes are just too many. Let me make a very practical example. You can still get a qualified report or outcomes whilst having serious issues with not complying to certain regulatory processes and regulations within the department, but it will come out as unqualified. Well, what are you doing about that? How are you making sure that you go through this with a tooth comb in order for officials not to escape repercussions and consequence management under a broader umbrella of unqualified report?
The Auditor General has got credibility and integrity. So once they express an opinion and said that you have an unqualified, there's no need for anyone to doubt the outcome, because they go through a rigorous process. It's not easy. The people who have done that, that exercise will tell you it's not easy. It's very difficult, and that's why the recommendations of the AG must also not be taken for granted. And that's why the AG also says, okay, you are unqualified, but look at 1, 2, 3, 4, or we're not happy with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have to improve controls, you have to put the plan of action, you have to monitor it, you have to implement consequence management. And consequence management, by the way, doesn't only mean firing people. Consequence management might mean reprimand, might mean suspend, might mean any other thing and all that. So all those things are done. And then they are, because you've got different departments, there's about 14 all in all, with different, and every department has got an executive authority, which is the MEC, and then it has an accounting officer, which is an HOD. So those things that the AG raises are things that the accounting officer has to do And when the accounting officer don't do their work, the executive authority must also act in helping the accounting officer to be efficient and to be competent. And if they are not responding positively, then you can charge them and then dismiss them or remove them or whatever.
Yes.
So it's not like nothing is happening, as I'm saying. So there's a lot of work that is happening, and that's why we're saying to you, this is the outcome. The AG has looked at the matters for the last year, and they are saying this is where we are.
And MEC, no one is saying nothing is happening. I think I'm also not saying that nothing is happening, but we are also pointing at things that could be improved upon, because we can't sweep them under the carpet.
No, definitely.
And, so no one is saying nothing is happening, and I'd be completely wrong to say that. Okay, so but here's a very interesting concession that you make, and perhaps you may not see it as a concession nonetheless, but you do mention that across departments that received unqualified audits, non-compliance with expenditure management and supply chain management laws and regulations was common. And this speaks to the ethos, the culture, the blatant nature of being nonchalant, as far as adhering to very strict regulations that ought to be safeguarding the expenses of the department.
Yeah, we can't defend wrong things, Thabo. So it's not even a concession, it's a fact. It's there, it has been found. And if you don't identify it as a problem, it means you are not going to solve it.
Yeah. How rampant is it? How rampant is it?
Well, it depends from department to department. You know, you've got a Department of Health that will have, let's say, 32 different institutions in it. Their budget is 60 billion. Then you've got a Department of Sports that has got a R1 billion budget. So the amount of activities in health, and they vary. So it will vary from one department to next to them, and sometimes and the fact, by the way, Thabo, that you've got out of 14 departments, only one qualified department, which is Department of Sports. All of them are unqualified. So it means generally the state of governance and management of finances and all that generally is okay. And then you've got 8 of those with clean audit. Then you've got our entities. What do you know as state-owned companies? We have about 19 of them. 14 of them have got clean audits, and only one of them has got a disclaimer.
Yeah.
You know. So what I'm saying is, I don't want to come here and defend this. No, I'm not going to defend wrong things. Wrong things must be sorted. And I'm saying we have identified where there's a problem, we're acting, and that's why one of the things we're saying must be done is to digitize our systems, you know, so that we have
paper trail,
an everlasting solution to the problem.
I just want to bring this to your attention, right? I think last week sometime, as we were reflecting on the prospective outcomes of the audit, and also looking at the Department of Health having to acquire linen, or procure linen, I should say, and various other things that they need in the department. There was a very interesting caller that came through, and I'm just making sure that we can draw a direct connect between the audit and what the ordinary consumer, who ought to be all of us, are getting. A person called in and they said to be a supplier of the Department of Health, and they said the linen that is now running out in the hospitals is simply because when it was taken to the laundry, to the laundromat for cleaning, washing, and all sorts of stuff, it remained there because the department did not pay on time, and they would wait for 6 months plus before they receive their payment. So as a result, a number of these service providers would then resort to keeping the hospital's linen hostage in order to get their payment. And so when that happens, the department then must procure new linen whilst they have linen stuck somewhere in the value chain with suppliers, with service providers. How do you reconcile that with the numbers that you've given us and the lack of adherence to regulations that we've been speaking about, MEC?
Well, did you get the Department of Health to respond to that? Because that's a very, very serious situation that
we invited them to speak. Yeah, we invited them at the time to say, come and speak to this. But now I'm asking you overall that these are the issues that are contributing towards the audits that are unfavorable that we are touching upon.
Yeah, what I'm saying, the reason I'm asking if they have responded or not is because there will be issue. I mean, each department will have its own unique circumstances, So when you say I must then give you an overall, that's why I would want to, we can zoom into health and say, okay, let's talk about health or let's talk about education and all that. But overall, the AG has said there are issues related to supply chain. The AG has said we are paying as Gauteng government about 97% of our suppliers are paid within 30 days, and then it raised the issue of health at about 37%. So there is a relationship between audit and the activities that have been taken there, and of course there has to be a balance between the audit outcomes and the service delivery. We want audit, we want proper management of finances, but we also want quality service delivery. So there has to be that balance all the time. And that's what we are doing. So I know, don't try to put me in a corner.
I'm not trying to do anything. No, I'm trying to put things as they are. I did say we had but we said I did say we had callers. It's not I didn't go look for it.
I don't have a
So allow me to ask you this because we're going to run out of time.
No, I don't have a problem.
Yes.
I don't have a problem.
I'm not trying to put you in a corner. Yeah.
No, we're having a conversation.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, I'm giving you the facts as they are. And don't worry, I'm not going to try and defend wrong things. And that's why when you raise the issue of health, it actually worries me as well, and that's why I'm asking, did they come and respond?
No, they didn't.
We've got a responsibility to account to the public.
Okay, so they didn't. They didn't come to respond. So no one is we're asking questions as they have come out. I don't have any interest in putting you in a corner. People need clarity out there and we need to do that. But lastly, I want us to genuinely reflect on the issue of payments. You've just said 97%. And I don't necessarily have the numbers in front of me. But clearly, a number of service providers, including the ones that I've mentioned who called in live on air, are complaining about not just the Department of Health, but not being paid on time. And could it be that 97% perhaps covers only invoices that fall within a certain criteria? Because it seems somehow incongruent with pragmatics on the ground about 97% of service providers being paid on time within 30 days, as you have said.
I said in the Department of Health we were sitting at
37%. Yes.
Yeah, which we have known, and even the MEC of Health has been very concerned about it, and there's been issues of accruals that they are dealing with, which we are helping them to do. But I can tell you with confidence and without any fear of contradiction, the figure that the AG has and that is provided is that is what is the situation in our province. We pay. I mean, give me any service provider who says I'm owed and that money is not disputed. Because sometimes people say they are owed and you find that the money is disputed by the department and then it takes longer. So give me any department where you say, I know Thabo, and give me that information, and I will definitely.
How do we send it to you?
The treasurer.
How do we send it to you?
Well, my email address is Lebogang with a G .maile @gauteng.gov.za. Lebogang.maile@gauteng.gov.za.
Okay.
And I mean, this health has got its, and as it's stated here, which we are dealing with, I'm saying, with any other department, to actually prove that this figure is wrong, we will definitely want that, because, and we don't have a problem with people pointing out weaknesses and problems, because it helps us to do our job.
Yes.
So if people don't tell us that this is not happening, or what you are saying is not true and all that, it makes our work difficult, because we might think we're doing well when in fact we are not. So that's why I'm saying. There's my email address.
MEC, thanks for your frankness, and thanks for availing yourself. It means the world to us. So of course we need to bring these issues up. And you heard the MEC has given you the email address. If you haven't been paid by any other department except the health department, send him the email, and perhaps with that invoice and the PO, maybe you'll get some help. 2 minutes to 11.